Hello, Booktube. It's Tuesday, and that means Tag Tuesday. I haven't done many tags recently because no one tags me because I'm an outcast on Booktube, a leper, a pariah. And I wasn't tagged today either, but I have a couple of tags that I sort of liked, so I thought I'd do them anyway. For instance, I saw the 200 video tag, which was created by Book Time with Ryan. I'll leave a link to his video. It's rather touching as he watches his progress as a booktuber. He didn't tag me because he hates me because I smell. But the questions are sort of fun anyway, and I've done more than 200 videos. So the first one is, how long did it take you to get to 200 videos? And I think, if I remember correctly, it took me about half a year to get that far. It isn't true anymore. I do 200 videos in 90 days now. But back then, back in 2016, something like that, it took me a while longer. I would do a video a day, or sometimes I'd let days go by without a video. So just about a few months. Question number 2: look back at your first video. How does it make you feel? I did the Booktube Newbie Tag, but unlike a lot of people who do the Booktube Newbie Tag, I didn't know how to film, and I wasn't sure that I wanted to make a channel at all. I wasn't 100% sure. So my Booktube Newbie Tag was filmed by two booktubers at the time, Chris Rhodes and Giselle Bradley, then Giselle Bradley, who I met through Booktube. I met Chris through Booktube. I was commenting on his videos, and then we just drifted into we learned that we don't live far from each other, and drifted into actual friendship. It was the very first time on Booktube where that happened. And I showed up on his channel before I had a channel of my own, just because they went, for instance, to the Boston Public Library book sale or other things, and it was on a video on Chris Rhodes' channel that I actually said hello Booktube for the first time. They kept insisting to me that this is not impossible for you to do. I just assumed it was. I'd been watching Booktube for a while, and I just assumed the technology was beyond me. I was becoming more and more comfortable as a commenter, but I never thought I could make videos. And they decided to film a Booktube Newbie Tag for me. I think we did it on my phone, and they showed me there was an app at the time. I think it was called the Capture app that was designed for people like me. It was designed so that if you had a video, if you filmed a video, you could easily upload it to YouTube. It wasn't any question of technology at all. And once I saw that, which I don't know that I would ever have done it on my own, but once they did it for me, once they showed me that it was possible, I was off to the races. So that's how I feel when I look at the video. I feel all the giddiness of that moment. But also a little pang. I have fallen out of touch with Chris and Giselle. I don't think either one of them makes videos anymore. And I have no idea where they are, or they haven't visited here in years. I mean, that sort of petered out, and then COVID came along. So there's just a big trench between that time and this time. Question number 3 is, which video has been your most successful? And here I'm sure that that Ryan is probably thinking about the standard metrics by which we measure success on Booktube, the foremost of which would be view counts. Second maybe would be engagement, and unfortunately the video on my channel from 7 years ago that beats all the others in both of those metrics is embarrassing. It beats them for negative reasons, for bad reasons. Because I did a video in which I railed against fake booktubers, fake readers. People, the kind of people that now are infamous. I think that history has a little bit vindicated my condemnation at the time of certain booktubers are obviously doing it for reasons that don't have anything to do with reading or their love of reading. I don't think it's controversial now to say that a lot of booktubers are fake. They're not real readers. I guess at the time it was, but that's not the source of the controversy. I think that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. But the main thing was that in the comments to that video, in the comments to some other video, I made a stupid, thoughtless comment. I was brand new to making public comments on YouTube. Wasn't clear about myself at all. It wasn't a smart comment at all. Perfectly willing to acknowledge that. But a vicious, vindictive booktuber, whose channel I really liked, prized that comment out of context, fed it up the chain to an even bigger booktuber who blasted it on social media as everyday sexism, y'all. That was one of my earliest indications of what had been done to the phrase y'all, and how if you hear it on social media, you are hearing it from a fascist. There's no way to save it. on social media. It has been completely co-opted by the worst people in the world. And this person not only did that and intentionally tried to stir up millions of hundreds of thousands of followers to attack me, but also made a point of saying, let's keep this going. Don't let this die. Who's going to do something about this? I have a lawyer, a rather feisty Boston lawyer, who at the time said, this is as clear a case of incitement as I've ever seen. If you get so much as a postage stamp in the mail as a result of this, put it in a plastic bag without touching it and bring it to my office. I'm eager to make new law. This is as clear as it gets. That never happened, but there was long-standing damage to that gigantic fracas at the beginning. There was long-standing damage. It was put forward. There was a loud subculture that said that I was the devil incarnate. For something that no one knew anything about, there were a host of response videos that ranged from stupid and droning to virtue signaling to outright mean, and all of them, almost without exception, all of those response videos were made by people whose channels I had championed, whose videos I had talked about and liked, whose channels I wanted to help. Did that merit a private email from any of them? No. No. One of them, in fact, infamously went on a month later to found an entire outrage channel on a loud, braying, stupid, completely brainless yell response to something this person imagined I had said, some version of what this person imagined I had said. And then months after that, put on the hair shortener of hypocrisy in the most unimaginable way by saying, you know, guys, it really isn't a good idea to attack people like this. That person had done it himself. He based his channel onto it. There was all of that, and all of that is ancient history. But it did have it cast a long shadow on my channel. There are still people out there who either directly or stochastically continue to think just offhandedly, oh, this is that horrible guy. Occasionally I will get one of those people popping up in a comment on a video, just an unrelated comment. Happened just a couple of weeks ago. Comment like that on an old video of mine just sticks out like a sore thumb because it's lodged in that comment field with all the comments from the community that has grown up here since then. Of genuine people, genuine friendship that has it's stuck out. Fortunately, I know that community exists now. And also, I am not looking for this channel to be, a multimedia, multi-million-dollar enterprise. If some booktuber, new or old, decides to distance themselves from me, no matter how nice I'm being to them, because of that original slander fest in 2016, well, then I know everything I need to know about them. And I'll be a little sad and I'll go on my way. I know everything. It says a lot more about them than it does about me. But I'm sure that video, it was a last week in Booktube video, and I'm sure that video is my most successful if you use the metrics of engagement. I'm sure that it has by now 1,000 comments on it. Or views. I'm sure that it is by a factor of 10 the most viewed video on my channel for all the wrong reasons. But anyway, question number 4 is, which video are you most proud of? This is going to come up in this tag quite a bit, but that doesn't apply to the way I make my videos. They are not productions of mine. You might as well ask, well, which walk down the street are you most proud of? Or which chat with an old friend are you most proud of this week? They're not productions. They're not exertions of mine. So being proud of them doesn't even apply. I'm happy with all of them, obviously, or I wouldn't upload them, or I wouldn't keep them uploaded. But proud, no. It doesn't work unless they're a production. And my videos are not productions. So question number 5 is, which video has been the biggest disappointment? And again, it's the same thing. These aren't shows that I put on in Century City, where I've got Ed McMahon's going to introduce me, and then I've got a patter to go through, and then there's a whole show to get through. Oh, God, I hate this crap so much. I'd love to stop doing it, but I need the check, kids. I need the check. The bourbon's in the top drawer. I need the check. I wish I could stop doing this crap. I haven't liked doing it in years. It's been obvious for years that I don't like doing it, but I can't leave it alone. It's a source of income. It's the same thing here. That was a stinker of a show. Couldn't wait to get that guest off the stage. Now, it's just a totally different frame of reference from the way I actually do Booktube. There aren't any videos that disappoint at all. If the door open to disappointment will be, this is going to sound really terrible, but the door open to disappointment will be involving someone else. When it comes to me, I know exactly what I'm doing on camera. I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly what I'm going to say. I know how I want to say it. The same thing moves right over to Steve streams when we're doing those live in real time. It's when you bring someone else on that you can introduce the element of disappointment, because maybe you want to do a Q&A and the person turns into a monosyllabic slab of stone off the plain at Stonehenge. where they're, yay, that's going to be a lot of fun. And then once I've hit the record button, I say, so what do you think about that? But unlike in paid interviews that I used to do eons ago, where I had to produce something out of material like that, I had to do it no matter what, no matter how badly the person stonewalled me, I still had to do something with it. Unlike that, with YouTube, it's entirely voluntary and completely under my control. So if at the end my Zoom cuts off at 40 minutes, that's as often a blessing as it is a curse. And if my Zoom cuts off at 40 minutes and I can't use the interview, which it's just the other person is just being willfully mulish, well, I don't have to upload it, right? There's no contract here. There's nothing riding on it at all. But that almost never happens. Disappointment really doesn't enter into it. The only disappointing element of my videos is on your end, because you keep expecting something interesting, and instead you keep getting this over and over. Question number 6 is, has your channel changed over the course of producing 200 videos? If yes, is there a video that stands out to you as being a turning point? I think there has been a change. It's largely been pointed out to me by viewers of this channel, and by the friends I've made through this channel. And I don't think I've noticed it on my own, because it's an organic part of life. When I started this channel, I had 2 old dogs, sweet, white-faced old dogs. I had a pointer named Malin, and I had a fat, gassy basset hound named Lucy. They both come to me by circumstance, by pure happenstance. I found Lucy literally running around in the street. And they'd grown old together, and I loved them. I adored them. And in addition to adoring them, I also, every once in a while, there's a particular dog that comes along. Lucy was a special dog in a lot of ways. Not only literally in that she was completely insane and heard voices, but also in that way as well. And when I started this channel, they were old. They needed help up and down off the furniture. They needed help with softer food. The walks had to be shorter. And gradually, over the course of time, while I was making videos, that old age care turned into hospice care as they got sick together and then started to die together. And I saw it coming, and there was nothing I could do about it. But I realize now, looking back at some earlier videos, some of you pointed this out to me. I don't think I'd have noticed it on my own. Some of you pointed out that I sounded different. I spoke quieter. Those early videos are more gentle. A lot of them are more gentle. A couple of you have pointed out that sometimes it's obvious that you're making a video in a different room when the girls are away from you, so that you're not worried about waking them up. So you achieve a higher tone of voice. And if that's true, that has certainly changed. I have a feisty little puppy now who doesn't, actually Frida's not a puppy anymore. She's 6 years old. But I have a feisty little dog who doesn't care. She doesn't listen to me even when I'm talking to her, much less when I'm not. And if there's a turning point, well, I lost Lucy while I was making videos. I mean, and I was gone for a week. And then I came back and I just had Malin. And Malin, at that point, could barely eat. She couldn't see. She couldn't hear. She had muscular degeneration in her hind legs, so I needed to help her to stand up. I needed to hold her in order for her to urinate or defecate. She couldn't get up or downstairs. I needed to help her in every single way. But when all of her needs were taken care of, and she was here on the fainting couch with me, and the day's sunlight was blasting down on her and making her glow, and I would lay my head against her shoulder, she was unbelievably happy. Those moments of unbelievable happiness were still possible. And as long as those moments are possible, she sticks around. As long as those moments are possible, my duty is clear. No matter how round the clock that duty gets, there is no choice in the matter. As long as my friend was there and capable of being unbelievably happy, then I will take care of the rest. And I did, and I was doing that when I suddenly got a little puppy. You can actually see Frida as a tiny little puppy on camera in my Western Canon starter kit. If you go to the Western Canon starter kit, the Victorians, you will be introduced to Frida. And she shows up in the video right before that, chewing on a book. I didn't introduce her. She was just in the video because she just wanted to be there. This tiny little mouse of a thing. That happened while Malin was still with me. So I guess the turning point would be when Malin died. And I was again gone from Booktube for a while, and when I came back, there were no old girls. The hospice care was over. All those emotions, all that worry and heartbreak was just gone. Any of you who've gone through it will know it's just gone. You don't hold on to those feelings. They're just gone. They were the biggest everyday part of every single minute, and then they go away. Suddenly I had a dog who doesn't have any health problems, can go all night without needing to pee. He's perfectly happy to bustle along next to me on the walk. That, I guess, would be the turning point, but that's nothing to do with Booktube. Anyway, that was a long digression here. Let's move on. Number 7 is, if you organize your videos in playlists, is there a playlist you think is especially interesting? And of course, infamously, I don't. And I kind of should, because this is the 200 video tag, but I've actually made over 6,000 videos. And that means playlists. That absolutely should mean playlists. There are a whole bunch that suggest themselves. And I haven't ever just sat down, learned how to do that, and done it. It would probably take no more than an afternoon to make at least the beginning of a playlist. I haven't done it. There are Steve Donoghue playlists that are out there that other people have made, but I've never done it, and I really ought to. I don't think that right now on my channel there's anything under the playlist heading. Question number 8 is, which video did you put the most work into producing? It just doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. I just don't think of booktubing that way. I don't have a movie-making program. I don't lay a separate audio track on my video. I don't do any edits. I don't add any post-production things, even the kinds of things that I might want to add. If YouTube made it easy, if YouTube made it drop and drag, well, then I might like to put book covers right here instead of holding up an iPad. I might like to put, text down below or something like that. But YouTube doesn't make that easy, despite how much money we all make for them. They don't make that easy, and I don't do it. Otherwise, I simply don't do anything like that. So most work into producing. The work into producing is very simple. I think about what I want to say so that I'm not just blithering on camera any more than I need to. I think about what I want to say. I hurl off my pants, and I turn on the camera. It's as simple as that. Question number 9 is, are there certain videos your subscribers seem to like? That is definitely true. And I am a bad booktuber because I don't usually heed that. All and sundry have made it clear that, for instance, that they would like to see a second part to my Western Canon starter kit. I did a series of videos. I'm sure there's a playlist out there called the Western Canon Starter Kit, under the contention that you do not need to go to school to master the basics of the Western Canon, and that you'll enjoy it. Took off. People liked it a lot. People really enjoyed it. I think there have been many people who've contacted me that have organized that their reading along those lines and got a lot out of it. And there's been a universal acclaim for a part 2, and there's plenty of material for a part 2. I just haven't done it. Also, the aforementioned last week in Booktube, where I on Monday or Tuesday, I look back at the previous week on Booktube and YouTube and the world. I've had endless requests to continue that, to do that. Endless people telling me, I found so many channels through you that I wouldn't have known about if you didn't do that. And others, there's a quite vocal minority of people who really like my bro watch videos, where I find some dude bro channel or whatever, usually the ones connected with reading, and roast them over a slow fire. I certainly love making those videos, but they are largely, I don't go looking for those creatures. They're usually supplied to me by the YouTube algorithm, and the algorithm hasn't supplied me with anything like that lately. But my subscribers like those kinds of videos. I think a lot of subscribers, I don't know what's wrong with you people, but then I've never known what's wrong with you people, not in all this time. I think a lot of my subscribers would probably like daily Steve streams. All these things that I don't supply. But yeah, people over the years have made it clear what they want. And also, of course, more Frida. as much Frida as possible. She is the genuine draw on this channel. And she's only here. I don't tell her what to do. I don't tell her where to go anywhere or how to act in any way. She doesn't do any tricks or know any commands. She knows one command, one only. Usually, in my past, I have taught my dogs 2 commands. I don't teach them tricks. I don't teach them all sorts of dumb things. They are not the subject of my whim. They're individual people. I've usually given them 2 commands only. One is attack, a specific term that I use that lets them know it's time to attack the thing I direct you to. And for that, I've had to take each dog separately out into, well, I used to take them to Franklin Park and teach them that in private. I can't teach a dog. It has to be a separate command for each dog, and it can't be done around anything else. It's too volatile. And the other command is to freeze. A particular sound that means freeze in place. I don't even want you to blink. I don't want you to think about it. I don't want you to look around. I don't want you to assess anything yourself. I don't want you to hesitate. I want you to freeze solid as an immovable statue when you hear this command, and I will tell you when to unfreeze. Most of the time, I never use that command. I've had so many dogs over the years, and in most of their lives, I've never used that command once. But that command is for an emergency. Is there something happening here that I didn't anticipate? A car goes out of control, or something like that, where I need you to not be a variable. And when Frida was a little mouse, she's a tiny little baby, and when I realized she was only going to be 10 pounds, she's just going to be this tiny little ball of lint, I didn't bother to give her an attack command. I didn't bother to do it. I just gave her a freeze command, and I've never had to use it, and I never will, because she understands circumstances as well as I do. That was the surprise with a miniature schnauzer, with my very first terrier. She's the first dog I've had in a long, long time who had the same kind of situational intelligence as a human does. Even my beagles, some of my boys were very sharp, but very much along dog lines. Frida is not sharp along dog lines. She's sharp along human lines. So I haven't had to do that. But how did I get off on that tangent? The question was, are there certain videos your subscribers seem to like? Oh, right. I was talking about Frida being up on her window perch looking out at the world. She loves to do that, but she would be there anyway. She's in all of my videos because she likes being real close to me. She likes being close enough so that she can touch me if she wants to. She's perfectly happy to ignore me as long as we're that close. Anyway, question number 10, our final question, we'll wrap this up, is if you could give a new booktuber one piece of advice for hitting 200 videos, what would it be? That is very easy, and the typical answer here among a lot of booktubers is probably going to be yourself. You know, that sort of thing. Make the kind of videos that you want to see, follow your own passion, make your channel a reflection of who you are, and all of that is really good advice, but I think the basic piece of advice that I would give stems from all of those, which is don't make it work. If you make this work, then you've given yourself another job. What is the number one attitude that most people have towards their job? Coming up with an excuse not to do it. And this is something that doesn't pay you. It's never going to pay you. It's not, most people, just in terms of odds, it's never going to pay off with a massive audience or, you know, sponsorship deals or merch stores or anything like that. That's going to be random chance. And random chance is not going to work in your favor. Random chance typically doesn't work in your favor. If you make this a job, if you say, well, you know, I'm going to make a booktube channel, that means I got to grind, you know, I got to put in the work. You won't do it. Or if you do it, you'll hate it, and it will be visible that you hate it. So and if you hate it, you won't get to 200 videos. Probably you won't. You'd have to be pretty soulless to get to 200 videos or 2,000 videos because you want to make it someday. Not because you care about what you're saying or care about your audience, but because you want to make it someday. Best to get that out of your mind. If you make this a job, if you make this work, then you won't do it. So my foremost piece of advice to people who want to get to 200 videos is do it for fun. Make sure you're doing it for fun. If you make it a job, you'll stop. So there you go. That is the 200 video tag. I think it's marginally legitimate. I have passed 200 videos. I have passed 200 videos since Christmas. So I'm going to wrap this up for now. I urge you all to do this. I don't have anybody to tag. Who would want to be tagged by an outcast? A leper? A pariah? Nobody would. If you feel like doing this, especially if you're in the neighborhood of 200 videos, I would love to see it. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up, but I'll be back. Thank you, Booktube.